What is this talking about? Al-ilm, Allah mentions that knowledge is what gives a person superiority, especially or only if it manifests in taqwa and piety. And so this is praiseworthy knowledge which manifested itself in piety. Talut was a righteous man, a knowledgeable man. And Allah gave him al-jism, which literally means, by the way, he was the tallest man amongst them and the strongest man amongst them. Goliath, who was the oppressor on the other side, Goliath was a huge man. And they said Talut, being the tallest amongst Bani Israel, he would not come to the shoulder of Jalut, of Goliath. He's a monstrous human being, a huge man, powerful oppressor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds and says he's been chosen for his piety, his knowledge, as well as his physical strength, and you need to follow him. Allah gives his dominion to whom he wants. What did they respond with? Can you send us a sign? Give us an ayah. Allah gives them a sign. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them the tabut, which was basically a box that had some of the belongings of Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam that the people used to find blessing from, barakah from. And it was taken from them by their enemies as Bani Israel was in a difficult situation at this point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought it back from the enemies and the angels placed it right at their doorstep. That is a sign that Allah is the one who is going to give you victory or keep you in defeat. Follow your leader. Follow that king. And so Talut goes forward and they follow Talut. First test comes. They get to a river and they are not allowed to drink from that river, though they are very thirsty. Remember we talked last week about the connection between sabr and steadfastness, patience and fasting and courage, holding yourself back. They're very thirsty and a test comes to them from Allah. Don't drink from the river right now. Hold yourself back. And what does that do? It expels the real ones from the fake ones. And so that 80,000 dwindles into 4,000 graduates, 4,000 men. And then through another period of testing, they become 313. What does that number sound like? Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma said the same number of the people of Badr. Subhanallah. So the righteous amongst them are always very few. They're always qaleel. In every generation, subhanAllah, the righteous are qaleel. They're few. But through that few, great things happen. And so Talut roots out all of the rest of them. Remember what Allah would tell the Prophet ﷺ about the hypocrites in Tabuk that claimed to be Muslim? But they just caused they just brought a demoralizing effect to the Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet ﷺ, it's better that they don't go out with you. It's better to have a small group of people that are dedicated to Allah, that are righteous, than to have people that are back and forth and swinging between righteousness and falsehood. And so now Talut goes forward and he has the same number of the people of Badr amongst him to take on this massive army. Amongst his soldiers was Dawood alayhi salam. And Dawood alayhi salam was not a huge person physically. He wasn't yet declared to be a prophet. He was just one of the righteous men of Bani Israel. And Dawood alayhi salam, as Talut calls out and says, who's going to fight Jalut? Dawood alayhi salam says, I will do it. What does he have? He has a slingshot. He has a stone. Subhanallah, if there is any image that comes to your mind, think about that iconic image of Faris Uda standing in front of a tank with his stone, not fearing that tank in front of him. Dawood alayhi salam is not afraid of Goliath. He's not afraid of Jalut. What can you do with that stone? What can you do with that slingshot? Bi-idhnillah, by the permission of Allah, I can do a lot with it.